couple minutes. You guys know how I do it. Today is Tuesday, March 31st. So that can only mean one thing. It's On Air with Russell of Hotels, that live hospitality talk show that everyone's talking about. Hope you guys are doing well. Let me just make sure that I am live on all the platforms I'm supposed to be live on. And I'm checking it. You got to check it twice. Make sure it's doing this thing. So I'm live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Okay, so those are the four platforms I'm live on. This is the monologue section. So if you need to go run and get your popcorn and your soda, please go ahead and do so because this is going to be a good show today. All right. I mean, all the shows are good, right? At least that's what I think. Right. So let me just make sure I see Rahel, Ethiopian vegan cuisine. They're on. They're on as well. You know what? I appreciate them for coming on. I love your food. Thank you so much. I mean, that's one of my favorite. I think, well, let me back up, back up. That's my favorite Ethiopian food place. So when I'm eating Ethiopian food, I'm going to Rahel's. Rahel's is on Fairfax. It's in Little Ethiopia. If you're in Los Angeles, you know exactly what I'm talking about. In fact, I've taken people there. People I say, hey, let's go have Ethiopian food. In fact, there's someone else that wants to go, and we just haven't come up with a time yet. But no, I'm all about the vegan eats, the non-meat eats, and Rahel definitely has all vegan eats at their restaurant. So if you're plant-based like I am, 100%, if you like the non-meat eats, that's what I call it, non-meat eats. Go to Rahel's. It's so flavorful. That injera bread, oh my God, it's light and airy. And then you eat with your hands, right? Who doesn't love to eat with their hands, right? So anyway, shout out to Rahel. So if you haven't been there before, you're in Los Angeles, or you're coming to Los Angeles and you say, hey, I want Russell to take me to Rahel's. Oh, hey, just let me know when and we'll go. All right. So there you go. So once again, this is the monologue section. So, okay, check this out. I always got a story to tell, right? So this is the monologue. So this gives me a couple minutes to say this before I get to the meat of the show. I'll start the intro and then we get into the show, right? But I do this show every Tuesday at 1 o'clock PST. I know I'm a little late today. I've been going through physical therapy. Did you guys know? You guys remember? I don't know. Maybe you don't remember. Maybe I didn't tell anybody that I had severely sprained or strained my hamstring. I was chasing after a raccoon. I think I may have told people that. Some people remember that. Some people are still laughing. Okay. In fact, the doctor is still laughing about it. So, my ground or my yard was wet. And after it had rained a lot, and I didn't see that it was wet because, and obviously I didn't feel that it was wet either, because when I tried to push off on my right leg, my hamstring basically gave way and I sprained it. I mean, severely sprained or strained it, right? So this has been going on for at least close to 6 weeks or so. So I've been doing physical therapy. So I did physical therapy today, and I needed to, talk to a doctor about something because I actually have an appointment on Thursday of this week. But I got caught up doing some things, and so I was late getting back home to start the show. So I just got back home. I had to kind of set up my laptop and all that. So here I am, right? So there you go. So that's the reason. That's my excuse for today. Okay, so that's my excuse for today. But the hamstring, it's still there. I mean, it's still there. I'm still in some discomfort. But hey, I'm getting around better than I was. Okay, not nowhere near 100%, but we're getting closer. We're inching every day. We're inching. Getting back to, you know, to my fighting shape. Okay, so anyway, whatever that even means. So okay, so the other day I was in a hotel, right? I was in a hotel. It doesn't matter what hotel I was in. I was in the lobby, right? And a lot of times I go in there because I want to just see the flow of a hotel, right? And I happen to be sitting down, I'm doing, I have my laptop with me, so I'm always doing some type of work or maybe creating some content while I'm there, right? So, and I'm listening, I'm overhearing this. He's not a guest yet. I mean, he's supposed to be checking in, but he just got off a long flight from Australia. So I'm hearing this whole conversation, right? I just got off this long flight from Australia. My hotel room was not ready. Okay, so he says that he's calling maybe his assistant or something like that. He's not talking to me. I'm overhearing the conversation, but he's talking loud enough where I can hear, right? He's sitting right across from me. And he's talking to, let's just say it's his assistant. And he's saying, hey, I'm trying to check into my hotel room. It won't be ready. And mind you, this is probably 10 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock when I'm there, right? 9:30, 10 a.m. And he says check-in time is not until 4 unless I want to pay a $75 early check-in fee, right? $75 early check-in fee. And he said, well, I don't want to, he's telling his assistant, I don't want to do that. Is there any other hotels in the area where I can go and stay that has rooms available right now? Because I'm tired. I just came off of a whatever 15-hour flight from Australia and I'm tired. I want to go to sleep. Okay. My question, it just made me think, what would you do? You're the hotel. What do you do in a situation like that? Do you stick to the policy? Like, hey, this is it. But if you have rooms available, do you give it to him? Okay, or maybe at a discount. Do we do that, or are we just hard line? It's a $75 fee. We can get you into your room. $75. We'll get you into your room. Okay, this same hotel that I'm listening to this guy, I happen to have a site tour with a sales manager. Okay, I have a site tour with a sales manager. Now, she shows me two rooms. Okay, she shows me two rooms. They weren't suites, they weren't anything like that. Just they were standard rooms, right? Could she have given? Now, I didn't tell her the situation. Like I said, I'm overhearing this, and this is before she walked out. Now, if she knew that, I'm not sure if she would have given that. I mean, I don't know. I just it just got me thinking for whatever reason. What would I have done if I'm the I guess the clerk or the front desk agent, the whatever we call ourselves or whatever we're calling them these days. What would I have done if I was in that situation? I mean, he wasn't like overly, like he wasn't loud, he wasn't, things like that. Because I remember when he was in line, I just remember I could just see him, just kind of in disgust, just shaking his head and coming to sit down. Like, you know what? Okay, if you're hard on this, then I'm gonna have to take matters into my own hand. So is it better to let him go, or to either discount it or just waive the $75 fee? Because guess what? His rate is a lot more than $75, right? There's no $75 rates out there, okay? And how many people is he going to tell when he leaves there? I've already overheard it. He's already told someone over the phone, I think it was his assistant, meaning I think she's the one that booked the room for him, meaning he will never have her book that hotel again if it doesn't work out. So, and once again, I'm thinking, okay, I'm on the site tour and I'm seeing two rooms. Those are two rooms that one of them could have been going to him, right? At least that's what I'm thinking, right? I'm like, why is this situation even a thing? Because I came in there at the last minute to do this site tour, right? I didn't have an appointment. I just basically emailed the sales manager who actually was responsible for booking a group with me, right? So we partnered to book this group at her hotel, right? So my thing is, if she had known that, would she have said, hey, well, I mean, did she have that power to say, hey, I understand, you are trying to check in early, but we don't have rooms available and there's a $75 fee. I'm just wondering, if I had mentioned that to her, what would she have done? Well, I don't guess I'll never know because I didn't mention it to her. But what would you have done? I mean, this is for the people that are out there, they can answer this question. Have you been in this situation before? What would you have done? Is it a hard line? No, we're not going to do this. It's $75, or because the rate is a lot more than $75. I'm sure that day, because they were close to selling out, the rate was probably $300. Okay, so he's going to cancel their reservation, go somewhere else, spend all his money somewhere else, eat somewhere else. Of course, most people eat breakfast. That's one breakfast you're not going to get. And then also he's going to tell probably 10 people that this is my experience at this particular hotel, right? So I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things that it just made me think. I'm like, what would I have done in that situation? I probably would have tried to discount it. Well, I can get you in for, you know, $40, okay, something like that. I don't know. Would he have taken it? I don't know. But those are things that make you think. And that's why I go to hotels, right? And just hang out in their lobbies. You be that lobby lizard. You're just like slithering around, getting information. You know what I mean? So that tells me a lot about what goes on at that hotel. Well, first of all, they charge that there's a $75 early check-in fee, right? Check-in time's not till 4. I thought normally it's like 3 o'clock, but no, the check-in time's at 4 o'clock. Okay. I'm like, okay, all right. But but what did he know? Did he know that there was a fee? Did he know what time he was going to be there? So it's a two-way street, right? Sometimes the guest is not knowledgeable. We think the guests are knowledgeable and they're not, right? Did he read the fine print? Remember, somebody else probably made the reservation for him. So maybe they didn't tell him that, hey, you're going to get there early. Your flight gets there at whatever, check-in time's at 3 or 4 o'clock, right? So you're going to either have to do this or you're just going to be hanging out for a while. You know what I mean? So I don't know his situation. Like I said, I'm just listening to conversations. Go to a lobby one time and just go to a hotel, hang out in the lobby and see what transpires. Listen to the conversations that are having out there, that are being had, that people are talking about. People are on the phone with. I ear hustle all the time because it tells me a little bit about what's going on. Tells me a little bit about whoever the person is, that person that was talking about the hotel room or the lack of hotel room for him. And then it tells me a little bit about the hotel as well. Are they willing to bend? I'm not sure. And then it tells me something about, it has nothing really to do with the sales because she probably did not know because she doesn't work at the front desk, right? She works in sales, right? But if we have showrooms available, why not give those showrooms to a guest? I would rather give the showrooms to a guest and piss off the sales department than piss off a guest. That's just what I would do. Okay. And I used to be a director of sales and marketing, and I used to be a general manager. Okay. But I'm gonna side with the guests. Okay. I don't want guests on the phone calling people saying this sucks. There's a $75 fee, blah, blah, blah. And I'm leaving to go somewhere else. That was the key. He said he was going to leave. He was not going to wait. He was not going to pay. He was going to leave. So can you call other hotels in the area? I don't care where it is. As long as it's on Century Boulevard, I will walk there. That's what he was saying, right? So I'm listening to this whole conversation. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. That's my kind of intro today. My little, not intro, but like I said, this is the monologue part. So what would you do in that situation? What would you do if you overheard this and you worked at the hotel? What would you have done? And you were in a position where you can make things happen. Would you have just, I'm sticking to the policy. We got a $75 early check-in fee. Okay, that's it. Okay. Or would you say you try to discount it, or would you just waive it altogether? Or would you just let him walk? And knowing that you had two rooms that you can give him right now that are clean and ready to go, because those are the showrooms, right? The showrooms could be any room, right? But those were the designated showrooms for that day. So anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you because that's what I do. I share stuff. Anyway, all right, I'm going to do the intro. We'll be back for the show. Okay, so in about 1 minute, I'll be back. So hold on tight. And thank you for joining On Air with Russell of Hotels. This is show number 337. Hey, once again, Russell of Hotels, thank you so much for joining On Air with Russell of Hotels, that live hospitality talk show that everyone's talking about. Today is show number 337. It is Tuesday, March 31st. I'm live from LA, right? That's where I live. I'm here, the big LA. No, anyway, it's supposed to rain today. I don't know. It's been cloudy all day, and then I'm hearing things that it's supposed to rain, and they always say it never rains in Southern California. That's what Tony said. But for some reason, it's gonna rain today. That's what they say, at least. But guess what? I watered my grass this morning because I kind of ignored that. I'm like, I'm not gonna listen to some weather person to tell me that it's gonna rain, because I mean it looks kind of gloomy almost every day in the morning, right? But does it rain? No, not normally, but we're gonna see. We're gonna see if my theory is right, that just water your grass, Russell, and let the chips fall where they may. If it rains, that's a bonus, right? But something tells me even if it rains, it's not gonna be anything significant. It's gonna be enough to dirty your car. Okay, that's basically it. Then I'm gonna be pissed off because I gotta wash the damn thing again. So anyway, thank you guys for joining. I see on Instagram, I want to say that says KL Creatrix. I'm not sure. I think that's what that says. And then of course Rahel. And then during the intro, I showed a couple food items, right? Those are all non-meat eats. Okay, everything that I show will always be non-meat eats because I don't eat meat. I have a plant-based diet. That's what I do. That's how I get down. So everything I show will be that. Okay. In fact, I don't know if I have photos of my last meal at Rahel's. If I do, maybe I'll show it. Maybe I'll put it in my video there. So I think I see a chat right here. Hey, cuz, please don't say it never rains in Southern California. So anyway, this is let me just put that comment on the screen. See, if you make your comments, feel free to make comments because it's all about engagement, right? I appreciate that. I appreciate people to come on. So I appreciate you so much that I'm going to show your comments if you send me a comment. So if you're on Instagram, LinkedIn, Instagram, you can't do it. Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So if you're on any of those three platforms, make a comment. They'll pop up on my screen over here, or they'll pop up and then I'll put them on my screen. So there you go. So thank you, Jackie, cousin Jackie, for your unwavering support of the show and for your comment, right? Don't sing or don't sing. Okay. But, I have to, right? I got to get my sing on. Come on now. Anyway. Anyway, so let's see. Let's get to I will never do one of these shows. I always say this before I get started. I'll never do a show where I'm not showcasing a hotel or a destination. And today happens to be both a destination and a hotel. Or actually the hotel within this destination. Okay. So, it's all about the destination. People choose that destination. The hotel just happens to be the byproduct of that destination. Okay. You can't go to a destination and not stay at a hotel, right? Or I guess you can go and visit and leave, but you choose a destination. Like I'm going to Anaheim because of Disneyland, but I'm flying from, you know, Seattle, Washington, right, to go to Disneyland, right? Well, more than likely you have to use a hotel. You have to get a hotel, but you're going to the destination, which is Anaheim, which houses Disneyland, right? So that's the destination, but you got to stay somewhere because I'm gonna be there for 3 days. I'm gonna see all three parks, right? So I got to stay in a hotel. Well, that's the byproduct of a destination, the hotel. So anyway, so today, Visit Knoxville. Okay, so I was there, I guess it was last year, right? So Visit Knoxville is Knoxville, Tennessee. That's the destination, right? So I was there for a conference, and I just show a couple of things here. And I thought that was kind of cool. Just one of those things that just you just want to take a photo of, right? And I thought it was kind of cool, right? So I was there for what was that? Small and boutique meetings, which is a North Star event, which is a great event, and it gives like Visit Knoxville and some of the other smaller destinations. I call them third, fourth, maybe even fifth tier city destinations because they're not as popular as the LA's and New York's and Vegas's and Chicago's and all those kind of things. But they deserve their just due as well, right? Because they do a great job. They do, in fact, they probably do a better job than some of these larger destinations because they're able to do more with less, I think. And a lot of them have these walkable downtown areas where your group won't just get, displaced and lost and all that kind of stuff. So I thought this was a cool destination. I had never been there before. It was my first time. It was easy to fly in. I'm trying to think. Did I have a connecting flight somewhere? I think I connected in Dallas or Houston. No, I connected in Houston. Connected in Houston, and then had another short flight to Knoxville, which was very easy to do. So there you go. I mean, sometimes we get caught up in what's the airlift like, and which is important, right? Because you got people coming from all over the United States. It makes sense. I mean, how many connections do they have to make? I only had to make one to get there from LA to Houston to Knoxville in the same way I went, back home. So it just depends on that. And I understand airlift is huge, but don't sleep. I always say this: don't sleep on these smaller destinations. Maybe destinations that are not as popular as some of the other ones, but I think they do a great job. Like I said, very, very walkable downtown area. From where we were staying to the downtown area was, like I said, very walkable. I mean, 10-minute walk. Seemed pretty safe downtown because we walked at night too. Okay, so we walked at night, so it was kind of cool. And like I said, I had never been there before, and I thought it was all right. So in fact, this is like I want to say it's kind of like a Space Needle. How Seattle has a Space Needle, but it's more of an observation deck. It's darn sure not as tall as the Space Needle. Okay, it's not as elaborate, not as cool as the Space Needle, but it's something that's a little different. And I think this was built during the World's Fair in 1982, if my memory serves me. Okay, because sometimes I forget stuff, but it was a cool little observation that you can see University of Tennessee from there, because Knoxville is where University of Tennessee is, right? So everything kind of revolves around the university, of course. SEC land. I mean, football, diehard football. I mean, you can't get no better than that. Okay, so it was a cool experience. And I say walkable. I mean, this is like this lake in the middle of the town or the city. And I got my little walk on too and just kind of enjoyed it. It was a beautiful day there, a beautiful several days that we were there. So, and then of course, you get to the hotel, which is the Marriott Knoxville Downtown, 302 rooms, 60,000 square feet of meeting space. And one thing, this is it's a unique hotel, right? So there's two hotels in one, kind of like a dual branded hotel, but one of them, it's called the Tennessean, and the Tennessean is like a luxury hotel within this Marriott hotel, but it has its own separate entrance. It has its own. I want to say, how many rooms did it have? I think it had less than 100 rooms in the Tennessean, but it was just a nice. I was like, oh my god, this is kind of cool. And then this boardroom was on the Tennessean side, so they have their own guest rooms. The decor is completely different, kind of an elevated experience, if you will, because it's more luxury over there, if you will, higher end. But yeah, so it was kind of cool, right? But definitely, I think it's owned by the same, of course, it's owned by the same company that owns the Marriott as the Tennessean, right? So it's very unique, very unique. And this is actually my room. Okay, this is actually my guest room. Another view right there. Another view. And then the bar is actually on the Tennessean side. Okay, so they had their own bar. On the Marriott side, they have their own bar as well. A lot of the meeting spaces on the Marriott side, but I mean, the Marriott side, the Tennessean side, it's all in the same building for the most part. You come down an elevator and get out, and boom, there's everything right there. And then I think I have one shot of the lobby, just a little shot of the lobby. There you go. There you go. So there you go. But once again, I'm always going to showcase a hotel because that's what I do. I mean, if I can plan a meeting, that's great. I'm going to show the hotels that I plan the meeting at, or anytime I travel, I'm going to take photos and videos, whatever, and I'm going to share those. But there's certain hotels out there that ask me to do this as well. Certain hotels, certain destinations that will say, "Hey, can you've been to our hotel, we invited you over here. Can you showcase our hotel on your next show?" Of course, of course. I mean, that there's an extended conversation, before that happens. But yes, definitely. That's what I do, right? That is what I do. But the disclaimer here is I will never show a hotel or a destination that I have never experienced myself. Okay. I get people that will call me, that will send me videos, they will send me photos for me to showcase on my show. But I said I've never been there before. I can't do that. Oh my God, you can't do it. Why not? I say, well, invite me out and then we can do it. Okay. And I'll, take photos or whatever. And they have to be my photos, right? I want to be the one to take the photos on my phone or whatever, on my digital camera, and I will showcase them to the world because that's what Russell of Hotels does. Okay. Russell of Hotels is not just about, hotels. He's a media outlet as well, right? Hey, there you go. So anyway, anyway, and this show won't last that long today because we don't have to last that long. So I have a quick topic here. A quick topic. In fact, let me look over to see if there's any comments on Instagram. No other people there. It's okay. That's all right. So feel free, like I said, to make comments. It's all about the comments. It's all about engagement. I appreciate it. Let's see. Okay, so the topic for the day is, do I have everything queued up? Yes, I do. Topic: what hotels get wrong behind the scenes? Behind the scenes of a hotel, every now and then, there's some things that go on that maybe, some mistakes, right? And I'm not saying that, yeah, because I led with that kind of example of what happened. That has nothing to do with the, I mean, that's not a mistake that the hotel made. The hotels have to, do things based on what their policies are, their procedures are, what's best for that hotel, right? And I understand that, right? And it's easy for me to sit back and say, "Oh, I would have done this, I would have done that." Well, I'm not working there, right? I didn't deal with that guest, right? So every guest situation is different, and we have to handle it. But sometimes you got to think about it. What I will say is you have to think about it, the long term effects of the decision that you can make. What are the long term effects of that? Will it come back to bite you on the butt, or if it's something you can live with, or is it something that happens all the time where people are always, what am I trying to say? Because there's certain policies that people will abuse, right? Like say if we've been giving things away. Like say, what could we give away? Let's see. Like say people early checkouts, right? So people, they say they commit to, okay, we're going to be there for 5 days. Well, they end up leaving after 2 days. Well, that's 3 more days of revenue that you thought you were going to get. Well, so what do? Do you let them go check out and hopefully someone checks in behind them, or do you charge them, right? Well, hotels are starting getting to the point where, you know what, if they check out early, we're going to start dinging them for it. We're going to start charging them for it. So that's the things that have happened, right? It's because guests will sometimes abuse those privileges that were free at one time, right? I can leave when I want to leave. I'm not going to get charged for it. Well, just like making reservations, right? I'm going to make a reservation and I'm going to cancel it the day of. Well, no, you can't cancel the day of anymore, right? You got to cancel maybe 24 hours in advance. So we've been doing those things for years, and then all of a sudden the hotel said, boom, no, we're not going to do it anymore. So there's different policies, different procedures that just have happened because guests have been getting away with a lot of stuff, right? They thought they would never get penalized for canceling a reservation at the last minute or whatever. Well, the hotels, I got to put my hotel hat on, right? Hotels are depending on that money, right? They already put that money in the bank. Okay. I already bought a new car with that money. Now all of a sudden you're telling me you're not coming? I got bonus because of that. Now you're telling me you're not coming, or you're gonna leave early when you say you're gonna be here for 5 days and now you're only gonna be here for 2 days. Oh no, we gotta get our money. So those are things that have happened. So anyway, so I just thought I'd say that. I don't know why, but just because I wanted to. I don't know. But anyway, okay, so what's the topic for today? What guests get wrong behind the scenes. 3 mistakes. I always try to limit it to 3 because I know you guys got things to do. I got things to do. 3 mistakes that impact the guest experience. Okay. Whew. You guys know I worked in 14 different hotels. I worked in 14 different hotels in the course of my career, right? From housekeeping manager trainee to director of sales and marketing to general manager. I've done all those and a lot of stuff in between. I'm not going to go into all the hotel things that I've done or all the positions that I held, but just know that I've been at 14 different hotels and I've held various positions. Today, I'm just going to talk about just real quick 3 common mistakes that hotels often make that can affect the guest experience. The guest experience, meeting planners, and ultimately the hotel's reputation and repeat business. That's stuff that you don't want, right? The interesting thing is that these are not always big mistakes. Often they're small things that add up to make a big difference. Okay, and that's when it becomes a big issue. That's when it becomes a big issue. Okay, let's get to this and let me stop talking as much as I'm talking. So once again, what hotels get wrong behind the scenes? 3 things. Number 1, hotels assume guests know more than they do. We always think the guests, they should know this, right? The guests don't know everything, right? They don't know. Maybe it's their first time at your hotel. They don't know where to park, right? They don't know where to walk in. They don't know where the restaurant is. Okay. They may not know that stuff. Where the bellman located? I don't know. Where's the meeting space? They don't know. That's why we have those things, sometimes we have directional things that, meeting space or meeting room this way, a restaurant. We have signage everywhere, whatever, I mean, I used to work at the the Sheraton Universal, right? And there was an elevator that took you up. Like if you're going to walk to Universal Studios, there's this elevator outside that took you up. And there's like a little path that you would follow to take it to the path would take you or lead you to Universal Studios, right? If you wanted to walk, it probably took about 15 minutes or so. And you would look at them. I mean, I just remember the front desk, like, just take the elevator up and then, follow the kind of signs, whatever. Like, where's the elevator? They think it's the elevator in the hotel. No, there's an elevator outside. Well, if this is your first time there, you don't know there's an elevator outside that takes you up this hill, so you don't have to walk all the way around. I mean, those are the things that sometimes you think about, like, why are you getting mad at the guests? They don't know. They never been to this hotel before. So explain to them as if they're a 3-year-old, right? Oh, right outside here, ma'am. You're going to go right across the porte cochere, and you're going to look straight ahead. You're going to see this elevator bank. It's a glass elevator that takes you up. It only goes up 1 floor, but it's enough to compensate for the hill that you would be walking if you didn't go up that elevator. So, I mean, those are things we have to do. We have to take time to do that. And sometimes we just assume that they should know. Okay, well, damn it, they don't. Okay, so interesting. Anyway, number 1, hotels assume guests knows what they, know more than they do. Hotels sometimes forget that guests are experiencing the hotel for the first time. Guests may not know where to park, what is included in the rate, where breakfast is served, or how certain fees work. I mean, that's another thing. Fees and, the resort fees and, what comes with that. I mean, we make reservations, but that doesn't mean we read the fine print. Okay. We didn't go through your website and see exactly what, is included in this resort fee. Or what is a resort fee? I've been staying in hotels forever. How many times have you heard this? I've been staying in hotels forever, and I never even heard of a resort fee. Well, they hadn't been traveling in the last several years, because there's been a resort fee for a while, right? Or a resort fee, or leisure fee, or whatever kind of fee that we'll add on. But we have to educate them on why certain taxes, or what are these taxes? What's a bed tax? What's a TMD tax? Because those things are highlighted on their folio or their bill. So they want to know those things. So make sure we're able to explain those things in a way that's not pissing people off, right? And that's not what you want, right? Just explain it to them as if, once again, they're a 3-year-old and they've never been there before. They don't know anything that you're talking about. Just try to explain things to them. What seems obvious to the hotel may not be obvious to the guest. The hotels that stand out are the ones that communicate clearly before arrival, during check-in, and through the stay. When you make the experience easier for the guests, you create less confusion and more satisfaction. Do you know? Okay, so when you make a reservation online, normally once the reservation's been complete, you get a lot of information, or you get your confirmation and all that. But the know before you go kind of thing. I mean, some hotels have that, and some hotels are better than others at doing it. Like, know these things before you go. I mean, those are things. If you don't have that, you should have that. So as soon as that confirmation comes out, there's a know before you go attached to it. Now, are they going to read it 100% of the time? No, they're not. But you know what? Okay, some guests will read it and some guests won't. But you need to have it there, right? Let's see who's there. Hi, Russell. This is Kimberly of Kim and Tim. I was on IG and happened to see what you Kimberly. Okay, I didn't know that was you. Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate you. This is just a pleasant surprise right here, because those are good friends of ours. I mean, we back in the law school days at UC Davis. Oh my God, just great friends, and we don't see each other as much as we should, right? I'm just saying, but no, it's good to hear from you, Kimberly. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I didn't even know you're on social media. That's good. That's good to know right there. And I see Chito Lavis. What's going on, Chito? I see Black Girl. I'm not sure who Black Girl is because I can't see the picture there. But no, I appreciate you guys coming on. I do this show on air with Russell of Hotels. This show comes on every Tuesday. I just want to give the people that are new here, right, a little breakdown here. So yeah, I do this show. This show right here comes on every Tuesday at 1:00. Okay, 1:00 PST. But I also do a daily check-in that's daily, right? I just don't have an exact time on that. I do it, but it can be in the morning or it can be in the afternoon. But there you go. And I'll do it on Instagram as well. It's always live on Instagram, but you can't go back and find it after I'm done, transmitting this video. It will not be on Instagram anymore. It's only live on Instagram, but it won't be in the archives of Instagram. So you won't be able to see the replay, right? But if you're on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube, it will be. Okay, so just so you guys know, just give you a little information about it. But no, I appreciate you coming on, Kimberly. So there we go. And Kimberly's an accomplished author. Okay. So anyway, okay. So where was I? So I'm going through. So for people that just joined, the topic is what hotels get wrong behind the scenes. 3 mistakes that impact the guest experience. Okay, so that's the topic for today. Number 1 was hotels assume guests know more than they do. Guests don't know every damn thing. Okay, we got to explain it to them. And I just kind of went through, after reservation has been completed online and they get that confirmation number, what we should follow up with is like a know before you go, things to know before you get to this hotel. All right. So, but a lot of times guests don't read that anyway. Okay. Well, let's just assume they don't read these things, right? The information is there, but let's assume that they don't read it. We have to be in, it's all about hospitality, right? And a lot of times that front desk person is the first person they talk to at that hotel, right? Say they didn't park a car, or they didn't go valet or whatever. Say they, took an Uber or a Lyft, or what's that other thing? What's the car? The driverless car. What is that thing called? I can't remember. But anyway, let's just say they did that. Well, there's certain things they're not going to know. They're not going to know where to park. Well, let's say they're going to rent a car. Maybe they're asking all these questions like, where do I park my car? I'm like, well, didn't you just drive here? Everyone doesn't drive, right? So everyone doesn't drive there. Maybe they took a Lyft or Uber to your hotel, and then they're going to pick up a rental car later. Well, now they need to know where they're going to park their car, right? And what's the parking charges? We have to let them paint the picture. Don't assume anything, right? And sometimes as, the front desk clerks or, even managers, we assume that these guests know everything about this hotel. And they don't. You work there for 20 years. Yeah, you should know that, right? Every guest does not know. So we have to assume that guests know nothing about the hotel. So there you go. I just had to say that. Number two, hotels often operate in silos. Another common mistake is when departments do not communicate with each other. Sales may promise something to a group that the front desk or operations team does not know about. I mean, how many times has that happened? Okay. So every department is independent sometimes, right? Well, they're all independent and sometimes they don't communicate. So what that means operating in silos, sometimes we don't communicate with other departments. Like I have a VIP checking in, right? But only I know. I haven't told anybody, right? So I have to tell the front desk, I have to send this VIP form or VIP amenity form or whatever to them so they know that, okay, Mr. Smith is coming in and Mr. Smith is a VIP. And, I'm to be called when Mr. Smith checks in. Okay. Because I want to escort Mr. Smith to his room, right? To make sure he gets his amenity and all those kind of things, right? But if you don't communicate that to the powers that be, who's going to make it happen, everything falls apart. And that makes everybody look silly. Makes me look silly because I didn't communicate. It makes the front desk look silly because they didn't do what they're supposed to do. Well, they didn't know they're supposed to do that. So sometimes sales will promise the world and can't deliver a city. Okay. Who does that? Right. But no, it does happen, but we have to communicate. I mean, and this is all behind the scenes things. Sometimes people on the outside, they don't know how hotels operate. Right. So it's my job to let you know that things do happen. Right. Everything is not 100%. Some things do fall through the cracks. Okay. But sometimes we have to identify these things so we can move forward, right? I'm all about educating people outside of the hospitality industry, not necessarily the people that are in, right? So hopefully this does two things. It makes you look at if you're a hotel person or a DMO person, it makes you look at your operation like, hey, are we doing this? Are we taking care of the guests like we say we are or like we think we do? And then for the guests that, potential guests of a hotel, these are things you need to think about. Like, okay, if the hotel sends you a no before you go, make sure you're reading it. Okay, make sure you read that and you know what to expect when you get there. Although, yeah, the hotel should be able to guide you, but you want to make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into as well, right? As far as the rate, all the taxes, is there a bed tax? Is there a TMD tax? And what does a TMD tax stand for? The tourism marketing dollars. What does that mean? Those things are explained. So you don't have to take up time at the front desk like, well, what does this mean? What the hell? Well, it explain that to you, but you just chose not to read it. Okay. So anyway, another common mistake is when departments don't communicate. I think I said that already. Sales may promise something to a group that the front desk or operations didn't know about. I said that. Housekeeping may know that a VIP guest is arriving, or they may not have known that, right? Because it wasn't communicated. So we have to make sure we communicate internally. Banquets may not have the right information either. Everybody has a BEO, a banquet event order. That's what that sheet of paper is. It has everything on it, like times and dates and the number of people coming and the type of food and all that stuff. All that stuff is on there. And sometimes we get the wrong information and it doesn't, get translated to the right people. And next thing you know, shit goes wrong. Okay. And I said that. Yeah, shit goes wrong. The best hotels create a culture where sales, operations, front desk, housekeeping, and food and beverage all work together to deliver one consistent experience. That's what the best hotels do, right? Now, a lot of hotels do things right. It's just that, of course, I just want to throw things out there just to make you think, right? Because that's what I do as Russell of Hotels. Number 3, hotels spend too much time selling rooms and not enough time selling the experience. What the heck does that mean? Too many hotels focus only on rate, the room or the meeting space. But guests and planners are not just buying a room, they're buying the experience. So what comes along with that, what I'm paying, right? What comes along with that? Hopefully someone at the front desk that's going to create an experience for me. So when I get to my room, I'm not worried about, the crap that I just got from the front desk. they made it a lot easier, right? I know where the elevator is. I know where the restaurant is. I know what time it is. I mean, they're explaining all those things to me, and they're asking me, do I have any questions about anything? They're opening themselves up, for me to ask more questions. And that's what you want, right? So the most important person to the front desk clerk should be the person in front of them, right? Not the person that's right in back of them that's waiting. No, if that person has questions, make sure you have their undivided attention, or they have your undivided attention, and you're explaining things that are going on. That's what the experience is all about, right? It's not just, okay, here's your room, boom, boom, get out of here. No, all that stuff matters. Okay. From when they made their reservation, how easy was that? Was it quick and seamless? To when they drove their car up to valet and how they were greeted by valet. Okay. When they walked in, the bellman greeted them too. Were they greeted by the, can I assist you? Can I help you? That's all about the experience, right? And then you get to the front desk. Was the front desk clerk like this, looking down? You see the top of their dome, like you see the top of mine? Like, or did they like, well, hello, how are you? Are you checking in? They're looking at you, eye contact. Those things matter. That's part of the experience. Okay. Some people don't think about that because they never really experienced real good experience. Did that make sense? They never experienced experience. So yeah. So they want to know what the arrival will feel like. That's what guests want, right? What guests will remember and what makes the hotel different. Those are things that make people go out and say, hey, stay at this hotel. Like, hey, I understand you were in Vegas. Where would you stay? Oh my God, I was at the Fountain Blue, and oh my God, it's a brand new hotel, but they have this, they have that. Oh, the employees are so nice. Every time you walk around the corner, those things matter, right? That's what you want. You want people to walk out of your hotel and start talking about it to everyone else, because guess what? That's marketing for your hotel. That's what you want. Someone else is promoting your hotel, and I didn't have to pay them, right? All I had to do was give good service, or give them a good experience, right? So when I went to the Fountain Blue in Vegas, it was just hadn't been open a year, right? And the experience there was great. It was wonderful. I mean, it's a top of the line. I would say one of the top hotels in Vegas, right? Definitely luxury, right? So I didn't know what to expect, but I think I got a lot more than I expected, right? That I had anticipated. And I tell people about that hotel all the time. So if I'm going back to Vegas, guess where I'm going? I'm going to the Fountain Blue. Okay, that's where I'm staying, especially if it's on my dime. Now, if it's not on my dime, you put me wherever you want me to wherever you want me to go. But the Fountain Blue would be one of those hotels that I would recommend or refer to anyone else, okay? Because I had a great experience, and I think everything that's in that hotel, you don't have to go anywhere else, right, to do it. Okay, you can do it right there at the Fountain Blue. So anyway, the hotels that win, the ones that tell a story, create emotion, and help the client picture the experience before they arrive. Okay, that's so okay. So that's all I had on that one. And then so any questions at all, feel free to put your comments in the chat and I'll make it happen. Let's see. Do I have any other comments? Nope, I do not, and that's okay. So real quick, I want to go through who's hiring. So these are jobs that are in the greater Los Angeles area. And I always do this. It's just something I added, what I mean? Just an added kind of feature. Like, you know what? Let me talk about who's hiring. Because there's people out there that, even if they're not looking, they may be looking after I tell them who's hiring, right? They may say, you know what? I'm interested in that position. And a lot of these jobs that I show, they're like sales related, like director of sales and marketing, sales managers, and I think I have one GM position out here too. So there you go. Okay, so who's hiring? Real quick, I only have 4. Century City Hotel. I'm not sure where the Century City Hotel is. It's on Avenue of the Stars, but is that the? You know what? I can't remember where the Century City Hotel is. I mean, it's on Avenue of the Stars, but I'm thinking of, I don't know why I'm thinking of the Century Plaza. I'm thinking of the Century Plaza. So obviously there's another hotel called the Century City Hotel, but it's in Century City. Okay. They're looking for a director of sales and marketing. They're paying pretty good. So if you're interested in that, you need to check it out. And I found these on Indeed, indeed.com. Hilton Universal. I just talked about Universal Studios, or the hotels in Universal. They're looking for a general manager. There you go. Go there and be the top dog. Proper Hotel in Santa Monica. They're looking for a transient sales manager. Transient meaning one reservation at a time, right? I mean, they can be corporate, that can be government agencies. You know, they just book one hotel at a time. It's not a group, non-group meaning, right? Transient means single reservation or single room. Okay, a lot of companies have, we want a hotel rate. We want a rate because we're going to send 10,000 room nights a year, right? So we're looking for, this hotel's looking for a sales manager that can find those single reservations, right? Because those single reservations can make a hotel sometime, right? It's not all about the groups, right? 10 rooms or more is considered a group. We understand that. But a lot of hotels, their bread and butter is on the transient, are the single reservations, not on the group reservations, but the singles. Because singles come in all the time, right? Groups don't come in every single day. Every single day you don't have groups unless you have a airline crew, and that's considered an airline crew. That's not considered a group, right? So that's different. So go figure. I mean, I just thought I'd tell you guys, right? So I'm giving a lot of information today. I normally don't give all this information, but because of the nature of the subject today, or the topic, I'm giving you more information than I normally would, I guess. So Proper Hotel, Santa Monica, they're looking for a transient sales manager. And then the Sunrose Hotel. Now, the Sunrose is formerly the Pendry Hotel in West Hollywood. WeHo. They're looking for a dorm. What is a dorm? Does anyone know what a dorm is? They're looking for a director of revenue management. Now, hotel people, we're big on acronyms. Okay. DORM, DORM, director of revenue management. Okay. Someone that, making sure the rates are right. I changed the rates 3 times a day because, when the business fluctuates, we want to make sure we're getting as much money as we can for those rooms. Okay. So we started off this morning, rates were $220. By the time it got to 5 o'clock, the rate was $575. You know what I mean? So that's what revenue managers do. Okay. Their job is to make sure that they're getting the right rate for those rooms, right? So supply and demand. So if people are taking up those rooms at a lower rate, guess what? We're going to cut that lower rate off and we're going to extend a higher rate to you. That's why the rates fluctuate, right? It's based on supply and demand. So, which means that there's whatever's going on at that hotel, maybe there's groups in there, right? So we're going to charge a lot more because we have groups. So we only have a certain amount of rooms available. So we're going to charge a premium rate, right? Or maybe we have a citywide convention in. Okay. All of LA, I mean, it's what they call it. It's award season, right? All the hotels like in Century City and they're all sold out. Higher end hotels are sold out. So we're going to take advantage of that. Boom, jack those rates up. Super Bowl's in town. Boom, jack the rates up. I'm in Pasadena in the Rose Bowl, the Rose Parade. Boom, we're going to jack the rates up. So it's based on that. It's based on what's going on. It's based on history. It's based on a lot of different things, a lot of different factors that hotels will look at in order to set the group rates. I'm not group rates, to set the transit rates, even group rates as well, right? So they're, in the past, you're looking in the future, like, okay, if we have groups coming in on these days, your group needs to know that that's over Rose Bowl. Okay. Rose Bowl, we tend to sell out. So we're going to ask for a premium rate based on that. So that's how hotels basically come up with these different rates, right? They don't just pull them out of their butt. Well, some hotels do. Don't get me wrong. Some hotels will just pull rates out of their butt. Like, this is the rate we're doing for the day. Has nothing to do with anything. But for the most part, yeah, there's a reason for why they do it. There's a method. There's a method to the madness of rates. So there you go. So that's who's hiring. I don't even know how I got in the other thing, but I was talking about revenue management. Okay, what the role of a revenue manager is. So once again, who's hiring? Century City Hotel looking for a director of sales and marketing. Hilton Universal looking for a general manager. Proper Hotel Santa Monica looking for a transient sales manager. And the Sunrose Hotel, formerly the Pendry, they're looking for a director of revenue management. So once again, all those jobs can be found on Indeed. So feel free to check that out. And I think that's about it for me. So once again, Russell of Hotels. I do this show. This is On Air with Russell of Hotels, the name of the show. I do this every Tuesday at 1 o'clock, right? The topics vary. Okay. It just whatever I pull out, that's what I'm gonna talk about, right? Every now and then I do have guests on. They come on and they talk about who they are, what they do, and how they can help, right? But all of them, 100% of the people that come on are hospitality people. They work in hospitality. They've given their life to hospitality industry because I gave my life to it. Okay, that doesn't sound right. Gave my life like I gave my life to Christ. No, it's not like that. Okay, but you put a lot of time and energy into it. This is my career. I put my career has been hospitality, right? So that's what I know. That's what I do. Even to this day, with my own business, it's all about hospitality. It's all about hotels. It's all about DMOs, DMCs, CVBs, XYZs, all that kind of stuff, right? So no, I'm being funny. CVB, Convention and Visitors Bureau, DMOs, Destination Marketing Organizations, and then hotels, and then restaurants as well, right? So anything hospitality, I'm all about that, right? So I ask people to come on who are in those various roles within hospitality to come on and talk and tell their story, right? Share their story. The brand is them. Okay. You are the brand. Okay. Just remember that you are the brand. Okay. You're a brand that represents a hotel or a destination or a restaurant. That's how it works, right? Because sometimes we sell ourselves short that people will buy us, meaning the relationships are built with salespeople. Okay, those are people, right? The relationship is not built with a hotel. It's not built with a destination. Okay, it's built with the people. So the difference is between hotels to hotels, between destination to destination. What's the difference? It's the people. Okay, I booked with Russell because of Russell. Okay, not because of that hotel that he works in. Okay, it's because of him. I know he's going to do right by my group. He's always taking care of me or whatever it is, right? So, I remember when I was on property, people would follow me from hotel to hotel. Remember, I've been to 14 different hotels and 10 of those within sales, well, maybe 8 in sales, right? So I remember people would follow me like, what hotel are you in now? Oh, I'm at the XYZ hotel. Oh my God. Okay. I got a group for you. Okay. I think that we can make it work. I would get calls like that or emails like that. Like, hey, I understand you're moving to another hotel, but hey, we want to come with you. And they're coming with you. And I didn't understand it back then, but they were coming with me. It wasn't the hotel that I was going to, it was me. It was me because I took care of them years before. So they're saying, well, hey, Russell always does right by our groups. Or, he always, he's going to keep it real with us. Okay. If the rate is this, he's going to tell you why the rate is this. And if he can get a better rate, I know he's going to do it. So those are the things that I remember. And that's why I love this industry, right? Because of things like that, right? So just remember, it's all about you, right? You're the brand. So whatever you represent or however you're representing these hotels, people are going to remember that. Okay. Did you take care of them? Did you not? Okay. So that's it. That's all I have to say, right? So just remember, brand starts with you. They'll buy you, but you represent another brand as well, right? So like I said, the hotel cannot speak for itself. So you're the person that speaks for that hotel or that destination or the car rental agency or the restaurant or whatever. There's always someone up front that people are going to gravitate towards or going to give them information. And so the person is going to take care of them. Okay. Hospitality, when people say, oh, I love that hotel because it was just great hospitality. But who gave you great hospitality? Did the hotel give you great hospitality? No, there was a team of people that did. The front desk did. The person in the restaurant, the bellman, the doorman, whatever, the housekeeper. Those are the ones that deliver the hospitality. It's not the hotel. It's not the restaurant. It's not. That's not how it works, right? So There you go. So if you remember that, I think you'll do all right. Okay. So anyway, that is it. Thank you guys so much for joining. And remember the replay for LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook will be on those platforms, right? On Instagram, there's no replay. Sorry. So anyway, thank you guys so much for joining. Rahel, Ethiopian vegan cuisine. I'm gonna be there soon. Okay. Hold my place. Kimberly Lee, thank you so much. Tell Doc Tim I said hello. Black Girl, thank you for joining. Cheeto from B-Town, thank you for joining as well. So anyway, that is it. I'll see you tomorrow because I'm doing I do the daily check-in tomorrow. In fact, I think Miss Tiffany English is going to be joining me tomorrow. So that should be fun. So make sure you join it. That's 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Okay. So that's the daily check-in with Russell of Hotels. I have a guest host that comes on. That's Miss Tiffany English. She will be on tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. So there you go. So see you tomorrow. The same platforms, right? Same bat channels. Anyway, you guys have a great day. Happy Tuesday and enjoy the rest of your week.